You like that? You like that?
What's going on? It's Coach Williams, and I am back for another breakdown. So today we are going to talk Marcus Jones game-winning punt return touchdown, and we're going to talk about how that return got set up over the course of the game. So if you've been following me since last year, you know special teams is near and dear to my heart. Played on special teams a lot in college in addition to playing cornerback as well. And now I coach the gunners and the corners on punt and punt return at the college that I coach at. So I was watching this matchup, and over the course of the game, I felt like something big was going to happen with the Patriots punt return team or the Jets punt team. I thought one of the two teams was going to make a big play that was going to turn the game. So I was watching this pretty closely, and you'll understand what I was seeing as I was watching the game and why the return ended up happening. But there could have been something that could have happened that was really big for the Jets as well. Also, one of the things with the Jets too is I think they might not have had the scouting report on Marcus Jones, because you have to think about what kind of defense they are, right? They're a Seattle scheme defense. So they're never going to be looking in the draft at a guy that's 5'8", right? Smaller kind of corner. They want big, long, physical corners. So maybe they hadn't really looked at him in the draft. They didn't know his return skills, and he's come on a little slowly in the return game for the Patriots. So I think that they didn't view him as big of a threat as he is, okay? If you watch his college tape, he was a phenomenal returner. So let's just jump right into this thing. So the Patriots come out here, and typically when you see this in punt return, we got three guys on either side of the snapper, and one guy walked off the ball. Got a guy deep here, and then Marcus Jones is returning. So typically when you see that, right, when you got even numbers on either side, there's no overload situation, and it's just 3 and 3, they're not typically trying to come after it, right? They're not trying to block the punt. Usually in that situation, they want to set up a return. So you'll see here, they don't go after it. They're not trying to block this thing, right? Everybody just gets out, okay? So the other thing that's pretty interesting here too is they do not block the snapper, right? So they give the snapper a free release here, right? He gets out. And typically you're going to do that sometimes in some of your returns. You're going to scheme it up that way because the snapper is not usually going to be one of the more athletic guys on the field, right? His whole deal is that he's good at snapping the football, right? Like that's his skill set. He's not like a physical guy. He's not going to be a great tackler. He's not going to be super fast or anything like that. You want to block all these other guys, and then you have confidence if you got a guy back here returning kicks that he's going to be able to make this guy miss. So what they end up doing here is they take Slater, as you'll see. They take Slater, and you'll see this again later, and they try to double team him from depth, okay? So they want to come out here and double team from depth, but he doesn't get there in time, right? He gets beat up the field, and it's really hard to be this corner and stick with the gunner the whole way up the field. That's why you try to see double teams from time to time. And so he gets up here, and Jones has to make him miss. So he makes him miss, and when he does that, that doesn't allow him to be in a position to make the snapper miss. The snapper makes the tackle. Now, the other thing that we want to notice here is, where is the ball kicked? It's kicked in the middle of the field. Dead center middle of the field. That is very, very dangerous. And the Jets were flirting with disaster doing this the entire game. There were a lot of times where they kicked it in the middle of the field. And so some people might say, oh, it's because of the wind, right? Like, the ball didn't go in the right place. It was supposed to be a directional kick. Well, one thing you got to look at is the pursuit, right? Look at the angles. Look at where all the Jets players are going on this punt. They're going to the middle of the field, right? They don't know where the ball is. And in the huddle, there is a directional play call, right? So it's either going to be left, it's going to be middle, or it's going to be right. And they're all running to the middle, right? Nobody's running to the sideline. They're all running in the middle. So They definitely were kicking the ball in the middle of the field, which is pretty dangerous. So we'll see here from the type. So we talked about this and we said they're just trying to hold these guys up, right? They're not trying to block the kick in this situation because they're only 3-3. But you can see here DeMarcus Mitchell, he comes off the edge and he tries to block it. See, he puts his hand up, right? It's not a great effort, right? He's not diving and laying out, but he tries to block this kick. And so usually what you'll do in these situations is you'll have all these guys hold up, and then you'll have one guy that you'll give the green light to try to come in and block it, and then he'll go back here and peel back. And his job is going to be to find another colored jersey for if Jones down here can break this thing loose and get the last guy, right? Hit the last guy, block the last guy. Don't clip him, don't hit him in the back, but block that last guy so that the return man can spring it, okay? But Jones doesn't have the time because the blocks aren't made, ends up getting tackled here, okay? So now you'll notice that there's an overload situation here. So they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to a side and only 2 guys back here. I think Peppers is going to peel off, all right? I mean, he's still close, though, so he would be in the count. Right, he would be considered part of the count in the protection here. But as you can see, they're trying to block this thing. And I don't know. I think Raekwon McMillan might have blocked this one, right? Because as you can see, gets totally shanked. Could have been the win, though, as well. But it was a double penalty in this situation. Both teams got penalized. So it didn't end up getting reviewed or anything like that. But they were trying to put pressure on this one. We'll be able to see it even better from the tight here, right? So boom, you'll see Millen gets in here, tries to knock that thing down, knocks into the punter, gets a penalty, but both teams are penalized. And so now you'll see again, right, we got another 3-3 and 2 guys off here, okay? Singled up on the Gunners. They kick it deep. And so this one ends up going to the sideline, okay? And so, I don't know. This still is kind of inside, right? You'd want to pin this one a little bit closer to the sideline, right? But it's at the bottom of the numbers. I think you'd, at minimum, want to split the bottom of the numbers and the sideline. So get this ball about here on the NFL logo. But what ends up happening is it gets muffed, right? So Jones muffs the punt, okay? And so the reason why I think he ends up muffing this punt is because Peppers is back here and he is supposed to double this gunner, okay? So that is his job. That's his priority, right? This is not kickoff return where you're making sure that he secures the kick, right? You're getting back here and you're putting yourself in a situation where you're going to be able to help out on this gunner. But he's looking back to make sure that he secures the kick, and that is allowing the gunner to hit full speed and be able to advance. So now, when he turns back, he should have turned back about here around the 30-yard line. He's a little bit deeper, and he keeps moving backwards. And this guy's running with a full head of steam, knocks right into him, and hits him into Marcus Jones. So, my theory is, this play ended up happening in the game, and from then on, the Jets kept punting the ball in the middle of the field. I think that they were punting the ball in the middle of the field because they thought that there's like swirling winds and stuff like that. So, you can get a situation where you can get a muff or something, and he'll be able to flip field position. You'll get the ball in the red zone immediately. I think that they were banking on that because they couldn't do anything offensively. Sounds crazy. It's a crazy theory, and I could be wrong, but I don't understand why you would kick the ball in the middle of the field. Now, the other reason why I'm very confident that they were kicking the ball in the middle of the field, right, is the ball keeps on going this way, right? And the flags, as you can see, the wind is pushing the ball this way, okay? And then you can also see where the guys are going, right? Where are they trying to take off to, right? This one obviously is a directional kick, right? So it goes this way. But I think you'll see on the game-winning return, they were kicking the ball in the middle of the field, which is really dangerous. So here we go. Again, right, we've got 3-3. He would be considered in the count here since he's up. So it's 3-3 again, right? They're not trying to block it. We got a double team down here on the gunner. So it's definitely a return. And so, again, right, this is considered the middle of the field, right? This ball is ending up a few yards on top of the numbers. In the NFL, this is the middle of the field, man, because the hashes are not wide, right? Like, this is the middle of the field. Very dangerous to kick the ball like this, right? So they kick it in the middle to the Jets' right middle, okay? And the Patriots set up I think that they got a feel for this, that this started happening over the course of the game. And they kept setting up these sideline returns, okay? So we've seen it a couple times, but here we're really pointing it out and focusing on it. They're setting up a sideline return, right? All the Patriots are trying to get to this side of the field, and they're trying to trick the Jets into going to the middle of the field, right? So look at all the blocks that are occurring here, right? We got bodies on bodies. All the Patriots have leverage here, but what ends up happening, what ends up screwing up this return here, is at the bottom of the screen, we got the double team going here, okay? A double team going here. So it's a good job. They force him out of bounds. And when he gets back in bounds, right, this guy back here is trying to kill shot him, right? You don't need to kill shot him. You don't need to throw your shoulders into him. Just get your hands on his chest and look at how much space Marcus Jones has. If they can just keep this guy out of the way, right? We got all these Patriots here. Marcus Jones' speed. Might not be a touchdown, but that's going to be a big return, right? That's going to flip the field. So we can see it again from the tight here. Look at the Patriots. They're all keeping their outside leverage here. They're trying to create this sideline return. They're trying to find another colored jersey and get outside of them, right? You got tons of Patriots doing this here. And look at the crease, right? Look at this crease if they can get this guy blocked. This is going to be a big return. So now here is the big one, okay? This is the touchdown here, okay? So, again, there's tons of things going on here, okay? So we've got the 3-and-3 set up again, right? We got a double team down here on this gunner. And then we've got Pierre Strong one-on-one with this gunner up here, okay? So we'll start with him, okay? So he does a good job of blocking him. And also, you'll notice, this is pretty cool, you've got Slater down here, okay? And Slater comes from the opposite side of the field, similar to the first punt that we watched. And this time, he gets a phenomenal block on this guy. Totally knocks him off his path. And that gives Pierre Strong the ability to get hands on him, right? So like we said before, the gunners, right? The gunners are the guys that you're really worried about. Those are the guys that they're really expecting to make tackles and make big plays in the return game. So if you can get them blocked, you're in a really good situation, okay? So that one was really good. Then down here on the bottom of the screen, the double team. It's one of the hardest things you have to do as a gunner, is go up against that double team. He gets knocked out of bounds. And then I think this is Peppers that comes, right? So Peppers in the middle of the field, runs back, gets down here, and these two double team him, and he's got nowhere to go. Can't get off the block, right? You get the two most important people blocked right off the bat. Then you'll notice, we've talked about this, right? Punt goes to the middle of the field. Again, look at all the Jets. They're running in the middle of the field, man. Like, even though it's, to the right a little bit, right? The ball is going to be pushed to the right. So I think they were trying to kick this thing in the middle of the field, and it still is, again, in the NFL, in the middle of the field, because the hashes are really thin, right? They're not as wide. So he's catching this ball between the hash and the top of the numbers. That's the middle of the field, man. Then you got Schooler here making a phenomenal block here on this guy, and you'll see it even better from the tight, right? You got this block that occurred here. This is really good. Of not trying to murder a guy, right? You're not trying to murder a guy and you just turn your back, right? Because you don't want to get called for a clip. It's a good job right there. And then Marcus Jones, one-on-one with a punter. That's not going to end well. Touchdown. All right? So we'll see it from the tight, too. You'll see some of the blocks that happen here and some of the really good technique. Obviously, the Patriots are a very well-coached special teams unit. So you'll see Schooler here, right? So they're, like we talked about, they're building a wall. So Schooler, he doesn't get too excited and try to get on the block too early. So many guys will do that. They'll get into this guy's body. It's hard to, run 20, 30, 40 yards down the field with a guy like that. Like, you want to just run side to side with him, invite him to the middle of the field because you know that the return is going this way. And then when he comes back, boom, make the block. And it doesn't need to be a kill shot. All you got to do is take him out of the play. And then the last piece here that I want to show you that's really great is Marcus Jones, man. He does a good job of setting this return up. He understands, right? All the Patriots, they're all going this way because they're creating this sideline return. So where's his first step? To the middle of the field, right? Suck all those defenders in to the inside, then cut back outside. That helps get all these guys perfect leverage on their blocks. And then it's over. Good night. Touchdown. So that's it for this video. I love special teams. There's some more special teams things that I thought were pretty interesting that happened from around the league. Won't make a video as long as this one on those, but I want to talk a little bit more about special teams because nobody's talking about this stuff, and it is a third of the game. It's very important, and it makes a difference. And this return, as you can see from this video, was set up over time, right? It wasn't just something that happened out of nowhere in the middle of the game. This got set up from the very first punt. So that's it for this video. And as always, you know what it is. It's Coach Williams, Ball Hawks. We fly. I'm out. Peace.